मंगलमय मंगल करण वीतराग विज्ञान नमो ताहि जाते भये अरिहंतादि महान करि मंगल करि हो महा ग्रंथ करन को काज जाते मिले समाज सब पावे निज पद राज. So today we'll be starting this topic. Move to page number 'Shastras worth reading and listening'. This is from where we are going to start. Page number, I think it is 19. Okay. Shastras worth reading and listening. So what kind of Shastra we should read? The one which increases our attachment and aversions? Which one we should read? Right? Tell me. Darshit ji, which one we should read?
Jai Jinendra. We should read Shastras which shows the right path, which illuminate our way so that we can get on the path to liberation.
In terms of attachment? Which increases our attachment?
They should make us more detached.
Huh?
They should allow us to become more detached, not attached.
So,
Real things.
So this is what it's written over here. Just read it.
You want me to read?
Yeah.
Okay. Shastras worth reading and listening. Only those Shastras which illuminate the right path of liberation are worth reading and listening. In this world, all living beings are suffering from innumerable kinds of miseries. If through the lamp, which is the light of Shastras, they attain the right path of liberation, then by treading on that path, they themselves can be free from those miseries. And that liberation path is nothing but a passionless disposition. It is therefore desirable to read and listen to only those Shastras in which the sole purpose of passionlessness has been discoursed by judiciously contradicting delusion, attachment, aversions, etc. And all those Shastras wherein the purpose of cultivating attachment, feeling by cherishing voluptuousness, merriment, etc., aversion, feeling by fostering violent activities, wars, etc., and the perverted belief by nourishing the faith in false elements has been advocated are not Shastras but weapons. Because attachment, aversion, etc., fallacious feelings on account of which the Jeev has suffered from miseries from eternity, the tendency of those instincts and feelings was already existing in him, often without imparting any training. And if through these Shastras the same instincts and feelings are fostered, then what has been preached for the well-being of Jeev, on the contrary, it may amount to destruction of the very nature of the soul. Therefore, reading of and listening to such Shastras is not desirable. As had been stated about reading and listening, similarly, one should know about composition, learning, teaching, thinking, writing, etc. by inference. Thus, only those Shastras which promote growth of passionlessness either directly or traditionally are only worth studying.
So those which fosters passionlessness, those shastras are the true shastras, and that are worth reading and adapting. And all other shastras are not worth doing it because they all foster passions. Okay. Now we want to become passionless. So we should read those shastras only which does not foster passion at all. So all our Jinvanis are like that only. Whatever Jinvanis we have, these are all come from the sermons of the Tirthankar, and they all preach us to become passionlessness. So these are the shastras that we should study. All other shastras are not for us to study. Now moving on to one of the important topics, traits of a discourser, or the characteristics of a discourser, Vakta. So what would be an ideal discourser that is being discussed here by Pandit Todarmal ji, and what are the qualities the orator should have? There is a long list, around 12 points are there. So we'll study one by one. And I'm making you co-host. Yeah. So, Jinali ji, you read. Traits of a discourser. Traits means characteristics.
1 minute, sir. Now the traits of a true discourser are being described. First one, he must be firm in Jaina faith.
1 minute, 1 minute. Aditi ji, I will stop my sharing.
Yeah, doing it. Okay.
I'll stop my sharing.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Start reading.
Yeah. The traits of a discourser. Can you just, yeah. Now the traits of a true discourser are being described. First one, he must be a firm in Jaina, that is faith. For if he himself is a misbeliever, how can he make others true believer? The listeners may by themselves possess less intellect. How would he make them true believer? Through some logic. And the right belief only is the basis of all religion. Second, he should have developed the ability to deliver discourses on Shastras through the study of scriptures. Because without attaining such ability, how can he be eligible for preachership? Third one, through right knowledge, he should be able to discriminate the gist of all sorts of empirical, vyavahar, and real, nischay, etc. forms of expositions. For if this be not there, then if there be some description with some different purpose, then he might draw some other meaning and become instrumental in wrong conduct. He should be fearful of going against the omniscient commandment. Can you scroll? If she can scroll down, Aditi.
One minute, she's not there, I suppose. Yeah. Read the fourth one.
Yes, sir. So 1 minute, there's some problem with my. Yeah, he should be very fearful of going against the omniscient commandment, because if this be not so, then bearing some purpose in mind, he may preach against the sutras, scripture, and create misery for jivas. So is stated below. The one who possesses many virtues like forbearance, modesty, etc., and has knowledge of grammar, etc., but is a perverse discourser, wrong interpreter, he is worth discarding. For instance, a snake, through possessing costliest jewel, yet it is only a source of trouble in the world. He must not have any.
So we will first understand the 4 points, and then we will move on to the 5th one. There are total 12 points. So we'll go 4 at a time. Okay. So coming back to the first point, he must be a firm believer in Jainism, because if he is not a true believer, how can he make others a true believer? Okay. Because the listeners are less intellectual than him, and if he is not a true believer, then how he will convince them on this matter? And right belief only is the basis of all religion. Second point, he should have developed the ability to deliver discourses on Shastras through the study of scriptures, because without attaining such ability, how he can be eligible for preachership? So to be a preacher, you need to be very strong in your knowledge about the scriptures. The third point, through right knowledge, he should be able to discriminate the gist of all sorts of empirical or the conventional and real nischay, vyavhar and nischay, etc., forms of exposition. For this, if this be not there, then if there be some description with some different purpose, there he might draw some other meaning and become instrumental in wrong conduct. So he should be very well versed in a real point of view as well as the conventional point of view, so that he can interpret the correct meaning of the what is written in the scripture. Fourth point, he should be very fearful of going against the omniscient commandment. In Hindi, it is written as Jin Agya Jin Agya मानने का भय होना चाहिए. No? So he should be very fearful of going against the omniscient commandment, because if this be not so, then bearing some purpose in mind, he may preach against the scripture and create miseries for jivas. So it is stated here below that the one who possesses many virtues like forbearance, modesty, etc., and has knowledge of grammar, etc., but is a perverse discourser, wrong interpreter, he is worth discarding. So he should be a right believer in the first place. It has been compared with a snake. A snake, though possessing costliest jewel, there is a jewel in the head of the snake, yet it is only a source of trouble in the world. He is having a costliest gel, but still snake is considered to be creating trouble in this world. So these are the 4 points. Now from 5 to 8. Okay. Aditi ji will read. He must not have any desire.
The one who possesses many virtues like forbearance, modesty, etc. No, sorry. He must not have any desire of accomplishing the temporal acts like earning livelihood, etc., by means of giving discourses on Shastras. For if he has expectation, then he cannot preach the truth correctly. He simply makes it a source of accomplishing his objective by giving lectures according to the desire of some listeners. Moreover, the preacher's rank is higher than that of listeners. But if the preacher be greedy, then the preacher will himself become inferior and the listeners will become superior. 6. He should not have intense anger and pride, because the highly passionate, angry and haughty person will be criticized. The listeners will be fearful of him. Then how would they be benefited by him? 7. He should himself raise different questions and provide answers, or if other people raise questions many times in different ways, then through sweet words, he should clarify in such a way that their doubt is removed. In case he himself does not have the capacity to answer rightly, then he should say that he himself lacks knowledge of it. For if this be not so, the doubt of the listeners will not be removed. How will then there be good of them?
Scroll it back, scroll up. We cannot see.
He should not indulge in any immoral and publicly censurable activities, for he would become a place of laughter due to indulgence in publicly censurable deeds. Who would then trust his words? He will bring bad name to Jain faith. He should not be of low.
So 4 points at a time. So 5th one, he must not have any desire of accomplishing the temporal acts like earning livelihood. By giving discourses, he should not expect any kind of consideration of livelihood or something like that. There was a question raised while we were teaching this, that people who are working in the trust, they take money for whatever they provide service for. So then the clarification was there that since they are doing a job, so it does not apply to them, But somebody who is giving discourse, he should not use it as a means for livelihood. 6th one, he should not have intense anger and pride, because he himself is highly passionate. Then the listeners will be fearful of him, and then how they will be benefited by him. Seventh one, he should himself raise different questions and provide answers. So he should see all the possibilities that a listener might have when he's teaching something. So Todermalji follows this unique style. So he has this habit of creating questions and then giving the answers. So those questions are as perceived by Pandit Todermalji, considering the listener. Okay. So what the listener could have in mind while studying this, that all questions he has raised. And that's how this things have the depiction in this scripture of Moksha Marg Prakashak is so intense and simple. Seventh point, no, seventh is done. Eighth point, he should not indulge in any immoral and publicly censorable activities, for he would become a place of laughter due to indulgence in publicly censorable deeds. Who would then trust his words? He will bring bad name to Jain faith. So he should follow the rules of the kingdom, whatever rules are laid down by the king, that should be followed. Okay. So at that point of time, it was king. Now it is the government. Okay. So he should not indulge in any immoral or publicly censorable activities. So people do get influenced by the discourser. So discourser should have all these following qualities with him. Then only he can make himself a good discourser, and through him, the other people will also learn. Now the last four, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Yeah. So ninth one, I'm reading myself because I think up to 9 only it has been marked in this book. So then I'll mention you the 10th, 11th, and 12th. Ninth one, he should not be of low caste, not be a crippled fellow, not have hoarse voice, be of sweet tongue, should be influential so that he may be acceptable to the people. Now, my question is, if somebody is very talented, but he is of low caste, okay, talented in the sense, talented in this religion, Jainism, then somebody is a crippled fellow. Now, what is his fault? Right? But these are all general statements, okay? Exceptions are there always, and one or two cases can be seen on the basis of its other qualities being. So these are all general statements. It's not be like that only. His voice also should be good, so he can influence others, and people get impressed by his talks, So these are some of the qualities that are essential in the discourser. The same is stated in Atmanushasan. Commentary on Atmanushasan is written by Pandit Todermalji. So here he is putting that reference. The one who is brilliant, has grasped the gist of all shastras, is graceful in public life, desire-free, lustrous, dispassionate, and one who knows the answer even before the question is raised, should have great forbearance for facing several questions, be influential, could win the hearts of others because of being free from the criticism of others as well as of his own by others, be store of virtues and whose words are clear and sweet. Such a leader of the congregation should deliver the discourses. So here all the good qualities a discourser should have that has been mentioned in Atmanushasan. So he should be brilliant and he should be graceful in public life. He should be desire-free, dispassionate, and is so expert that he knows the answer even before the question is completed or it is raised. So these are some of the good qualities that a discourser must have. Now the next point, 10th point, you can write down on your book. Further, the special characteristics of a discourser is such that if he knows grammar, logic, etc., and possesses deep knowledge of voluminous Jain Shastras, then his oratorship will be more glorious. Okay, so these are some of the special characteristics a discourser must have. He should know grammar, logic, and should possess deep knowledge of voluminous Jain Shastra. So, if he's quite knowledgeable, then only he can influence the other listeners. Moreover, in spite of all these qualities, if he has not acquired self-realization through spiritual taste, then he is not likely to know the spirit of Jin Dharma, essence of Jin Dharma. He is a discourser merely traditionally. Okay, he's only a discourser by tradition only. He is not a real discourser because a real
Repeat the
discourser.
last point.
The last point is that he should have self-experience. He should have realized himself. Okay. 10th point.
11th, no?
10th. He should have realized himself, then only he can preach others. How can he explain the characteristics of the true Jin Dharma, which is full of spiritual taste? Spiritual taste means here experience. Now, 11th point. Therefore, if he be an enlightened self, Atmagyani, then only he is a true teacher. In Pravachanzar also it is stated that Agam Gyan, knowledge of scripture, Tatvar Shraddhan, faith in Jeev, Ajeev, etc., essential principles or fundamentals, Sanyam Bhav, continence, these three, if are devoid of self-knowledge, Atmagyan, they are ineffective. Further in Doha Padu it is stated, O Pandey, O Pandey, O Pandey. Pandey means Pandit. Pandit means expert. You are leaving the grain, threshing the husk only. You are satisfied in words and their literal meanings, but do not know the reality. Therefore, you are assuredly a fool. So one should not be just satisfied in words and meanings. He should know, the purpose is to know the self. Okay, self-realization. That is the beginning point. Okay, so the discourser should be self-experienced, and then only he can teach others. And if he has not experienced himself, then he is a fool. Moreover, in 14 types of learnings, okay, there are 14 types of vidya. It's called vidya. 14 types of learning. The metaphysics, Adhyatam Vidya, the spiritual science, is described as to be the supreme of all. Why it is supreme of all? Tell me, why it is supreme of all?
It is an ultimate knowledge. I mean, over that knowledge, there is no other knowledge.
Why? That is the question. Why? Why is considered to be the best among the 14 types of other
Because that knowledge will help you in a to reduce your other Jnanavarniya karmas.
Not for that, because this knowledge, this knowledge will will end your circle of
Life and death.
life and death. Yeah. And all other kind of teachings or learnings will be helpful only in this birth. Now you become a doctor, okay? So your knowledge will be there up to this birth only. It's not going to be carried forward. But whatever you learn in terms of the spiritual knowledge, that goes along with you in the next birth. And the journey continues. And very shortly you complete the whole journey and get liberated. Therefore, the discourser who is fond of the taste of spiritual science should be known as the discourser of the mystery of Jin Dharma. Last point, 12. Further, you write it down. Huh? Further, the discoursers who possess extraordinary intellectual power and are possessed of clairvoyance, telepathy, omniscience are to be known as the great teachers. Okay. So those who have this extraordinary intellectual power and are possessed of clairvoyance, avdigyan, telepathy, manaparyay gyan, and omniscience, keval gyan. So these are considered to be a great preacher. Such should be known the distinctive traits of the discourser. So if one gets the association of a discourser possessing these distinctive traits, it is highly beneficial, and if not obtained, then one ought to listen the Shastras from the mouth of those discoursers only who possesses qualities of right belief. Again, Todarmalji is insisting that you should listen from a right believer. Now, if you don't find a right believer, even if a right believer is there, it is very difficult to make out whether he is a right believer or a wrong believer. So in those situations, what should a seeker do? So that answer will come to later on. Let's finish this one. It is desirable to listen to the Shastras from the mouth of munis, monks, and Sravakas, householders, possessing such characteristics, and it is not worth listening the Shastras customarily or with the greed of listening the Shastras from the mouth of sinful persons who are not possessed of the right belief, etc. traits. So ideally, you should listen from the person who has the right belief. It could be a Muniraj or monks, or it could be a Sravak householder also. Now the question is, if he is not a right believer, then what we should do? So we should not listen, or what? Or we should ask first whether you are a true believer or not, what you will do, right? So there is this benchmark that if his preachings are according to our scriptures, then we should listen to him. Okay, there is nothing wrong in it. Even if it is not a right believer, still he is just explaining what is written in the scriptures. So where the right believer is not available, there people can still listen from non-right believers also, but it should be in according to the true scriptures. Also, it is said that the one who is attentive in obeying the omniscient's commandment one minute. Yes. The one who is attentive in obeying the omniscient's commandment, it is worthwhile for him to listen to the sermons from the mouth of a nigrant, naked, possessionless, true preceptor monk, or should listen to religious discourses from the proper true believer Shravaka, who interprets the sermons of the true preceptor only. Okay. Only such discourser who preaches with religious attitude can do good of the self and of other jivas, capable souls also. And one who preaches with passional attitude, okay, harms himself as well as other jivas. Okay. So it is said that if you travel in a boat which is made up of marble, then that boat will drown, you will also get drowned. Okay. So we should not travel in such a boat. Similarly, we should not go to wrong believer discourser so long as a true believer is available. But even true believer is not available, then the one who teaches according to the scriptures, not on his own, but according to the scriptures, you can still listen to this kind of discourser. So this was about the discourser. Now, what are the characteristics of a listener? है ना, वक्ता का स्वरूप बताया, अब श्रोता का स्वरूप. So what should a listener possess? Some of the good qualities. What kind of qualities he should have? So here 3 types of listeners are given. The first one is the new one, new listener. Okay. The second one is the enlightened one. Okay. Who is already realized himself and he is an enlightened soul. That is the second one. And the third one is a traditional listener. Now, first one, the first paragraph belongs to the new listener. Okay. Now the characteristics of a listener are being described. So it should be here written as new listener. Okay. New listener. You write down new. Because the last line is about the new listener only. He whose future seems to be bright thinks, who am I? Now, this is a very important question. Who am I? So, the one who has this question in his mind is, in fact, a very, I would say, very close to getting self-realization. Because this is the question that one should have in mind while listening. Okay. So the first and foremost thing is you identify yourself. What is your true identity? And once you identify yourself, then you will be able to understand what is being said here. So he whose future seems to be bright, his future is very bright. Bright means he is going to acquire this scriptural knowledge, correct scriptural knowledge very soon. So first question is, who am I? What is my inherent nature? What is my true nature? How is this all happening to me? Why? Why only me? What will be the fruit of the thoughts and feelings arising in me? Okay. Now, these are all the questions is there in the mind of a new listener. Jiva, the self, is suffering from miseries. So what is the means of ending the miseries? I have to find out the solution of all these questions and should do that which is beneficial to me. With such thoughts, he has become active. Okay. So these are some of the very good questions people should have in mind who is a seeker, spiritual seeker. So unless and until you identify yourself, the path does not begin. Okay. So your first question and first priority should be to identify yourself. Who am I? What is my inherent nature? How is this all happening to me? What will be the fruit of the thoughts and feelings arising in me? Jiva is suffering from miseries. So what is the means of ending the miseries? So if you have this kind of questions, that means you are a new listener. Believing that this object can be achieved by listening to Shastras, listen to Shastras enthusiastically. So he believes that all these questions that I have in mind, I can get the answers by listening to the Shastras or the scriptures enthusiastically. Ask whatever is to be asked. If he has any question, he asks. Then what he does? Ponders repeatedly in his inner self over the meaning explained by the preceptors, and after determining the true meaning by his own thoughts, makes efforts to achieve the desirable. Such is the differentia of a new listener. So now you understood? All this was being said about the new listener. Now, second point. And then we'll come to the third point. So second point is about the enlightened listener. Further, those who are the firm believers of Jin Dharma and whose intellect has been sharpened by listening to different Shastras and having known thoroughly well the differentia of Vyavahara, conventional and Nischay, realistic standpoints. So this is very important to know the Vyavahar, conventional and the realistic point of view. Because if you don't know this point of views, then you will not be able to interpret the scriptures. Whatever sermon they listen to grasp it correctly by knowing what it really means. And whenever a question arises, they most humbly raise the question, or by mutual discussion on different questions and answers, take decision about the things. Keep deeply engrossed in the study of scripture, have discarded sensible acts with religious attitude. Such ought to be the listener of Shastra. So these are the enlightened ones, Jnani, who knows the conventional point of view also and the real point of view. Okay. And they are able to grasp it correctly. Okay. So this was about the second. Now, special characteristics of the listeners. If a listener possesses some knowledge of grammar, logic, and of voluminous Jain Shastras, then the listenership is praiseworthy. And even if there be such a listener, but be devoid of Atmagyan, self-knowledge, he cannot understand the gist of the sermons. Therefore, the one who has tasted the blissful nature of the soul through self-realization, he is the real listener of the mystery of Jin Dharma. Further, the one who possesses extraordinary intellectual power or the clairvoyance, telepathy knowledge, then he is to be known as an excellent listener. Such are the special qualities of the listener. Such should be the listener of the Jin Shastras. So this was an enlightened listener that we were talking about. Now moving on to the third point. This one is the traditional listener. Okay, he is listening by tradition. Moreover, those who listen to Shastras, believing that listening to Shastras will be beneficial to them, but due to weakness of knowledge, do not understand much. To them, punya bandh, bondage of auspicious karma occurs. Okay, so the one who is a traditional listener, but he does not understand much, so they bind auspicious karmas, punya bandh, but the specific purpose cannot be achieved. What was the specific purpose? The specific purpose was to realize himself. And those who listen to Shastra either by family tradition or customarily or incidentally or simply listen but do not retain anything, so according to their thoughts and feelings, sometimes punya bandh, auspicious bondage, or sometimes pap bandh, inauspicious bondage is caused to them. And those who listen to Shastras with pride or jealousy, or whose intention is only of arguing, and those who listen to Shastras simply for being called the great person or for the sake of fulfilling some greed, etc., or those who listen to Shastras but do not like it, to such listeners the papbandha alone is caused. Even they are not binding auspicious karma. Okay. Such are the various traits of listeners. Similarly, it should be inferred about the persons indulging in learning, teaching, activities, etc. Thus, the characteristics of a discourses and listeners of the Shastras have been described. Hence, the right Shastra should be read and listened to by becoming a right discourser and a right listener. So this was the final conclusion. Now the last topic, meaningfulness of Moksha Marga Prakashak Shastra. Okay, so there are 9 points. You can mark it down and then we will start reading it. It's a small topic. So let me first do the marking. मोक्ष मार्ग प्रकाशक ग्रंथ की सार्थकता. 1 minute. पेन क्या पेन. So the first point is first point is starting from here, as an instrumental cause of benefaction. This is the first point. Then Gandhar Devas, the second point, next paragraph. Then the third paragraph.
What is the first point, sir?
First point is from as an instrumental cause from there. Got it?
Okay. Second.
Second paragraph. Third
Ah.
paragraph. Fourth paragraph. Fifth is further. Further, this Shastra is being composed. That is the fifth point. Okay. Then sixth point is the next paragraph. Chintamani. Okay. Sixth point. Further, as if a Chintamani. Then seventh, in Pravachanasar also, there is a chapter on Moksha Marga. Then the next paragraph, further there are various components of religion. Then the last point is further reading, listening. This is the ninth and the last point. Now, first read the first 3 points.
What that you can please eighth one millions of what is it?
Pardon?
Eighth one millions of what is that one?
Eighth one was further there are various components of religion.
That is ninth one you told.
No, that is 8.1 and 9th one is further reading, listening and pondering.
Further reading?
Listening and pondering is the 9th one.
Okay. Eighth. I'm not getting the eighth one. Can you repeat, please?
So the paragraph before that,
Okay.
there are various components of religion, in them accepting dhyana.
Okay. I could not see in the screen that.
Acha, you are seeing from the screen only. You don't have the book, no? You don't have
No,
the...
I'm having English only. I mean Hindi, sir. I didn't get English book.
So you
I
can
have to
take a print out, no?
Yeah, I have to print out.
Aditi ji told you now, if you are studying in English batch, you should have at least English printout with you. You know, only 2 chapters have been shared. So very small printout. Some 30-40 pages only. Okay. So you should get a printout and then you have to mark it on your printout. Okay. So that is the advantage of having the physical book. Otherwise, some people do it on their tabs also, you know. They can do marking on their tabs and then they save it that way. So now there are 9 points. So we start with first 3 points. Okay. Sasikala ji, you only read.
Yeah. 1 minute.
From the beginning.
Just little scroll down, please. Meaning in this word, scroll down. From the
Beginning.
Yeah. Meaningfulness of Mokshamar Prakasham Shastra. Now starts the composition of Shastra named Mokshamarga Prakashak. Its meaningfulness is being discussed. In this world forest, all jivas, mundane beings, are suffering from different kinds of miseries caused due to karmic bondage, and the darkness of delusion is pervading everywhere, because of which the jivas are not able to find the path of liberation, rather continue suffering from the miseries tormentedly. As an instrumental cause of benefication of all such jivas, dawned the sun in the form of Titankar Kevali Bhagavan. Yes, sir. Kevali Bhagavan, omniscient Lord, and through the rays of his Divya Dvani, divine speech, the path of liberation got illuminated. As the sun has no intention to illuminate the path, but automatically its rays are spread out and the path gets illuminated. Similarly, the Kevali, omniscient Lord, is devoid of attachment, so he has no intention to show the path of liberation, but automatically due to rise of aghati karmas, non-obscuring karmas, the matter particles of his body turn into Divyadhvani, divine speech through which the path of liberation is eliminated. Shall I continue or stop?
Yeah, three points. First 3 points you cover.
Okay. Further, the Ganadhara Devas thought that after the setting of the omniscient sun, how could jivas obtain the liberation path, mokshamar? And without trading on liberation path, the jivas will continue suffering from miseries. The compassionate feeling encouraged them to compose the shastras in the form of anga prakirana, anga prakirana, etc. They served as great lamps which spread light. Just scroll, so spread the light. Further, as the tradition of lamps continues by lighting the lamp from the other lamp, similarly, some acharyas, chief saints, composed other shastras from those shastras. Thus, through the creation of shastras, the tradition of shastras continues. This shastra is also being composed on the basis of the previous shastra. Further, as the sun and
3 points.
okay.
So the main source is the Tirthankar Kevali Bhagwan, the omniscient lords, and through his divine sound, divine speech, the path of liberation got illuminated. Now, from the Tirthankar Kevali to the Gandhar Devs, the chief preceptor of the congregation is the Gandhar Dev. He was able to understand it directly from the Divya Dhvani. So from Gandhar Devas, they wrote the Shastras in the form of Anga Prakrina. So when Gandhar Dev writes something, then it is called Anga Prakrinaka. He's not writing, but he is just giving mouth-to-mouth knowledge to other acharyas. Further, as the tradition of lamp continues by lighting the lamp from the other lamp, similarly some acharyas, chief saints, composed other shastras from those shastras. So the one main shastra, from there the other shastras came up. Thus, through the creation of shastras, the tradition of shastra continues. This shastra is also being composed on the basis of previous shastra. So Todarmalji is asserting that this shastra, whatever I have written in this, I'm going to write into this, is all as per previous shastras. So never doubt about the genuineness of this knowledge, because it is all coming from the omniscience traditionally. Now, 4th, 5th, and 6th point.
So further, as the sun and all lamps illuminate the path in the same manner, similarly, the Divyadhvani and all shastras illuminate the liberation path, moksha marg, the same way. So this shastra to eliminate the liberation path. And as even on illuminating the path, the person who are either without eyes, have diseased eyes, are not able to see the path, but the lamp has not lost the power of illuminating the path. Similarly, on eliminating that is the liberation path, the jivas who are either without mind that is irrational beings, or overpowered by delusion, etc., are not able to see the path of liberation. Thereby, it cannot be said that the Shastras has lost the power of illuminating the liberation path. In this way, the meaningful name of Moksha Marg Prakash Shastra be known. Then scroll, sir. Scroll on. Question. There already exists a Shastra illuminating liberation path. Why then you are composing this new Shastra? Answer. As the illumination of big lamps is possible by means of much quantity of oil, etc. But those who do not have much quantity of oil, for them, if a small lamp is lighted, then they, by maintaining its means, can do their work in its illumination. Similarly, understanding of big Shastras is possible through the means of vast knowledge, etc. But those who do not have vast knowledge, for them, if a small Shastra treatise is composed, then by means of it, they may achieve their objective. This is the aim of composing of this small and easy Shastra. Further, this Shastra is being composed neither for self-exhalation under passion, nor for fulfilling some greed, or for earning name and fame, or for establishing my own tradition. Those who do not possess the knowledge of grammar, logic, Nyaya, Pramana, and a distinctive meaning of the words, due to which they cannot study big Shastras, and even if they study some small Shastra, then they cannot comprehend the true meaning. As such, in the present time, most of the jivas have feeble knowledge. For their benefication, this Shastra is being composed with a poised instinct in the spoken language. Further, as if a Chintamani, a miraculous and precious diamond, is offered to an extremely pauper for looking at it, but he refuses even look at it, and as if a cup of nectar is offered to a leper for drinking, but he refuses to drink it. Similarly, if a mundane, miserable jiva gets an opportunity to listen to an easy discourse on path of liberation, but he refuses to pay attention to it, then it is not possible for us to describe the glory of his misfortune. When we ponder over, just scroll it, sir. Next time I'll print it. I went through some exams, so I have no time. Pardon, liberation, but he refused to pay attention, then it is not possible for us to describe the glory of his misfortune. When we ponder of his future, a compassionate feeling arises in us. Also, it is said that Sahini, that I'll leave it. This jivas, who even on getting the company of self-dependent discourser, guru, preceptor, do not listen to religious sermons, or haughty and possess cruel heart, or they are devoid of fear of transmigration, from which great personages like Tirthankaras, etc. were afraid. They seems to be very brave warriors. In Pravachana Shara, also okay.
4, 5, 6, okay? Fourth one was about so as it was all about the Divya Dvani and the Shastra, which has eliminated this path of liberation. And so the Shastra, this particular Shastra written by me, is also on similar lines. So this is also eliminating the path of liberation. So as even on eliminating the path, the person who who are either without eyes or have diseased eyes are not able to see the path, but the lamp has not lost the power of illuminating the path. Similarly, on illuminating the liberation path, the jivas who are either without mind, irrational being, or are overpowered by delusions, etc., are not able to see the path of liberation. Thereby, it cannot be said that the Shastra has lost the power of eliminating the liberation path. The Shastra continues to eliminate the liberation path, but if there are people who are not able to understand it, then it is the people's fault. But the Shastra is anyways always depicting the path of liberation. In this way, meaningful name of Moksha Marg Prakashak Shastra be known. Now there was a question that already there were Shastras. What is the need to compose a new Shastra? So he gave a very good example that if you eliminate a big lamp, then you require a huge quantity of oil. But if you light up a small lamp, then little bit of oil and your purpose gets done. Similarly, there are people who are not able to understand big scriptures. So for them, this small scripture will serve the purpose, and through these small scriptures, they will study it, and they will illuminate themselves and get into the path of liberation. Further, this Shastra is being composed neither for self-exaltation under passion, nor for fulfilling some greed, or for earning name and fame, or for establishing my own tradition. Those who do not possess the knowledge of grammar, logic, nai, praman, and distinctive meanings of the words, due to which they cannot study big Shastras, and even if they study some small Shastras, then they cannot comprehend the true meaning. As such, in the present time, most of the jivas have feeble knowledge, very weak knowledge. For their benefaction, unke bhala ke liye, this Shastra is being composed with pious instinct in the spoken language. So this is another advantage. If the Shastras would have been in Prakritic and Sanskrit, then the people by and large were not able to understand. But this has been written in the language that is being spoken there. So many other people who are not well versed in Prakrit and Sanskrit, for them, this Shastra will serve the purpose of getting the right knowledge. The sixth point, further as Chintamani, a miraculous and precious diamond, is offered to an extremely pauper for looking at it, but he refused to even look at it. And a cup of nectar is offered to a leper for drinking, but he refuses to drink it. Similarly, if a mundane, miserable jeev gets an opportunity to listen to an easy discourse on path of liberation, but if he refuses to pay attention to it, then it is not possible for us to describe the glory of his misfortune. When we ponder over his future, a compassionate feeling arises in us. Also, it is said that the jivas who, even on getting the company of self-dependent discourser guru, preceptor, do not listen to religious sermons, are haughty and possesses cruel heart, or they are devoid of fear of transmigration, from which great personages like Tirthankars, etc., were afraid. They seem to be very brave warriors. So even the Tirthankars are fearing to getting through this mundane existence, then these people who are not ready to listen to the path of liberation, they are brave warriors, okay? Brave warriors in the wrong sense. So this was 6th point. Now 7th, 8th, and 9th, 3 points are left over. So Todarmalji says that person who has got this right chance to get the right knowledge, and even if he does not do the studies, then I am not able to describe his destiny. Okay. Just thinking of his future destiny, you know, I can remain calm. The 7th point, in Pravachan Sar also there is a chapter on Moksha Marg, wherein the knowledge of scriptures has been advocated as worth adopting. Upadey firstly. So the prime duty of this jiva is to attain knowledge of scripture. Okay. So first and foremost is the knowledge of the scriptures. So this knowledge of the scriptures will come to you by reading the scriptures. By its attainment, the true belief of tattvas, jiva realities gets evolved. So the first step would be to read the scriptures, and by reading the scriptures and understanding it, the true belief of tattvas or the fundamentals gets evolved, and on attainment of right belief of tattvas, continence disposition gets evolved. And on basis of this knowledge of scriptures, even self-realization materializes. Then on its own, the attainment of liberation takes place. So first you should read the scriptures and then attain the true belief. And then you go.
Shall we continue? Time is up.
Go into the path of liberation, and the liberation takes place. 8th point. Now just 4 minutes are left. I'll complete it. Further, there are various components of religion, in them excepting dhyan, meditation. There is no other component of religion higher than the study of scriptures. So there are 12 tap. Swadhyaya is the 10th tap. Okay. So after Swadhyaya, there is dhyan. So no other components of religion higher than the study of scriptures. Because by studying the scriptures, you are able to know all other, the true nature of all the other tapa, okay, penance. So Swadhyaya is the best among the penance. Therefore, one should study scriptures by making all possible efforts. 9th point. Further, reading, listening, and pondering over this Shastra is very easy. Even knowledge of a grammar, etc., is not necessary. Therefore, all should essentially study this book. The readers are bound to achieve spiritual welfare. Thus ends the first chapter dealing with the introductory part of Sri Moksha Marg Prakashak Shastra. So we have completed in the right time. So tomorrow we'll be starting the 2nd chapter, Nature of Mundane Existence, Sansar Avastha Ka Swarup. Okay. So from tomorrow we will start this 2nd chapter. So now I think many of you must be ready with your Gandhar Mulyankan, and you are supposed to record on your own and post it in the group, so others will listen, and also that topic will get revised. So my request that this week at least 2-3 people should post it in the group so the others can listen to it. Okay. So next week, not next week, tomorrow only, we are starting the second chapter. Okay. निज निधि निज में बताई, यह अनंत उपकार है, उसके लिए जिनवा वंदना सत बार है, उसके लिए जिन वाणी माँ को वंदना सत बार है। 9 बार नौकार मंत्र गिनेंगे। जय जिनेन्द्र।